Hey guys, what's up? I'm Whitney and today I'm going to teach you the basics of knitting. But before we get into that, there are 3 things you're going to need to get started. Okay, so one of the first and obvious tools you're going to need is a ball of yarn. And any ball of yarn, since you're a beginner, is okay at this point in time. Another thing you're going to need is a pair of needles, and there's 2 types of needles you could use. You could use what I'm going to be using, which is called circular needles, which are connected by a wire. If you do decide to use these needles, however, make sure you don't make your stitches too tight, otherwise they're going to get stuck on this wire and it's going to be extremely difficult to try and knit with essentially knots. The other kind of needles, and I'll show you the pair that has a project on them already going, is a pair of straight needles. As you can see, they're not attached. So, and these work just as good as the circular needles. Again, it's whatever you feel more comfortable with. If you're more comfortable with straight needles, that's fine. If you're more comfortable with circular needles, that's okay too. I'm going to be using circular needles just because I'm used to them. So, again, whatever you feel more comfortable with. Just be aware though, the bigger the needle, the bigger the stitch. So if you want bigger stitches, you're going to want a larger needle. If you want smaller stitches, you're going to want a smaller needle. At this point in time, I think it's best if you stick with a medium-sized needle between the sizes of 7 and 9. This way, you'll be able to practice knitting and getting the feel of knitting with some needles that are easier to handle. And then last but not least, you will need a pair of scissors for when you reach the final product. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, now that you have all the tools needed to knit, you can start with your first row. To get your first row started, take your yarn and make 1 loop around your needle. You can usually tie this loop around. Again, don't make it too tight, as it'll make it easier to knit. See how I've given a little leeway there? That's what you want right there, is leeway. After making this first loop, take your yarn and wrap it around your thumb like so. Then take the needle, push it under and through the loop, and then let go of your thumb with your thumb. And continue doing this until you have the amount of stitches you desire for your project. Today I'm just going to use 7, but you can use more if you so desire, or even less. Six and 7. Now that you have your first row, you're ready to begin the knit stitch. Okay, so you are now ready to do the knit stitch. And the knit stitch is a pretty simple stitch, and I would just continue with this stitch until you feel comfortable with it. So to begin the knit stitch, take the needle in your right hand, push it under the loop in the left needle, take your yarn, wrap it around the needle like so, then hook it through the loop, and then pull off the needle like so. I'll demonstrate one more time. Under the loop, through the loop, over the needle, down under the needle, and off the needle. Okay? Simple as that. And continue to perform this knit stitch until you get to the end. And then, once you've reached the end, you can perform the knit stitch all over again. Just switch around, and you're ready to perform the next row. Now that I've shown you how to do the knit stitch, let's go on to the purl stitch. So the next stitch I'm about to show you is called the purl stitch. This is a little bit more tricky, so don't be too upset if you don't get it right away. Over time and with a lot of practice, you'll get the hang of it. The way you start the purl stitch is you take your needle, you go through the loop like so. So basically going down through the loop instead of up through the knit loop like a knit stitch. So go down through the loop. Again, take your yarn, wrap it around the needle, then hook and go up through the loop and off the needle like so. Again, down through the loop, over the needle, hook, go up, and off the needle, like so. And like the knit stitch, continue doing this until you reach the end of your row. Like so. Continue using the knit stitch, the purl stitch, or both until you have decided you are finished with your product and are ready to complete it. Okay, so once you're satisfied with your project, you're ready to finish it off. And to finish it off, you're going to basically knit 2 loops. And I'm using a knit stitch just because I feel like this is an easier way to finish your project. But if you want to do the purl stitch, that's fine too. So knit 2 stitches, take your left needle, push it through your first loop, then hook your second loop and pull through with your right needle and off your left needle, like so. Again, knit a stitch, push through the first loop, and pull the second loop through the first, and then pull off the needle, like so. Continue this until you reach the end of the row. Okay, again, for the last time, pull your loop through, then gently take the loop off your needle, use your scissors to cut the yarn and cut a good size length of yarn off when you do so. Pull the yarn through the loop to tie off. Like so. And then I like to do an extra little knot just to secure it. There we go. And there you have it, your finished product. And there you have it, guys. Those are the basics of knitting. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you learned something and continue to knit in the future. With these simple steps, as long as you continue to practice, you can make anything you want to. So, again, I hope you enjoy. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm going to go back to my knitting now. Bye!